loves royalty? Royalty is found all over the news. Everybody's watching royal families in the news. And so my favorite royal person would be Queen Elizabeth II. She is amazing. She's 92 years old and has been as the monarch for like 60 something years. She is amazing. She's been in her role actually probably from 1950-ish. So actually, what the most intriguing spot for Queen Elizabeth for me was her speeches and her public appearances. Her speeches, actually, like her first speech, she was 14 years old. She had practiced a lot with her family. She did breathing lessons, which I should do, and she has she's very well educated. Very they did home tutoring, so they did their education at home, and she was very well spoken, and still is very well spoken. So in her very first speech, she was 14 years old, and it was during the war, and a lot of the Britain people were evacuated, and they were evacuated from their homes and from their families, and so she wanted to inspire and encourage and assure the people that life was going to be okay. So she gave this speech very calmly, very upright for a 14-year-old girl, and she included her little sister Margaret, and they were very sweet in that speech. I went back and watched many speeches. However, okay, so her quote at the end of the speech is very sweet. She says that in the end, all will be well, for God will care for us, give us victory and peace. Queen Elizabeth wrote that when she was Princess Elizabeth, and that was in 1940. She also started officially in her public roles whenever she was 14. She was like 14 and 15. She started, she was given some public duties. And during that public duty, she was appointed by her dad, her father. She was appointed the colonial-in-chief at the Grenada Guards. And so in her first appearance in the public eye, she had went to check out the troops over in Britain with her family. So then in her other speeches, she actually does a speech, a Christmas speech every year on December 25th, and blessing her people and encouraging them through the next year. How well they, everyone's done this year and how well it should be the next year. And so then also Queen Elizabeth, she was one for many of the first in royalty. She was the first in 1945. She joined the military. Well, it's called the Auxiliary Service, and she helped, support the war efforts. She became an expert driver and a mechanic, so she was very good at what she did, and that just totally amazed me, because she's royalty and she's in there, she's doing it, and she's living like a common person, and she's just an amazing lady. So that was one of her very first, and then 2 years later she had met the love of her life. Well, actually, I think she was 13 when she met the love of her life, Prince Philip, and she married him, well, against her parents' wishes, because he was not just the royalty that they wanted for her, that he did not come from a lot of money and wealth and all, and she was in it for the love. She was not in it for just royalty. So then the Queen, many firsts. So under pressure from her mother and from the Prime Minister Winston Churchill, she did not take on his house name. She actually kept her house name as the Windsor Palace. So it's the Windsor House still. She was very reluctant to go against that. So she was also a traveling queen, and in 1965 she went to a groundbreaking in Germany, and that was the first time that a British monarch had been there in like 5 decades, so that was very impressive. In 1973, she attended a Commonwealth Conference in Canada. In 1976, she came to the United States, and she was a part of the 200th year celebration, and she totally loved that. And she became, in a couple weeks after that, she went back to Montreal, Canada, to do the Olympic opening. She is very involved with the Olympics because she has family that participates in the Olympics. And in 1979, she traveled to Kuwait, which was a very unheard of. So she went to Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Oman. So this right here, it gained her a lot of attention in the media, and it also gave her a lot of respect throughout the whole world. So she totally has my respect. Thanks.